I am Shelley Lewis. I work at Jeanerette High School in Jeanerette, Louisiana in the Iberia Parish School District. Um, One thing that I'm most passionate about as an educator is building relationships. I do believe that it's really important to have those relationships built with students so that I'm able to reach them to be able to give them the content knowledge that they need in the subject areas. Without that relationship being built, we aren't able to connect and reach our students. So I believe that relationship is a really big part of being a teacher. The grade level of the students in the video is 11th grade. It's a U.S. history class. I'm teaching from the Louisiana Student Standards for Social Studies, Standard 2.8. The lesson objective is for the students to evaluate the causes of the publishings of muckrakers in America at the turn of the 20th century. So the whole purpose of the lesson is for students to answer the claim or supporting question, muckraking, what's the point? So prior to this lesson, the students studied all of Standard 2, which covered westward expansion, the populist movement, immigration, and urbanization. And through all of those lessons, we found all of the problems through history. The purpose of this lesson is to identify all of the problems with history and to see how it's going to be worked out and fixed. This lesson connects to my overall goals because later in the unit, we're going to be covering progressivism. And the adaptations that were made to support all learners in this lesson was to do grouping that was individual, pairs, and whole group, and to give expectations for each so that all students would be held accountable and all students would be know the expectations of what that accountability looks like. Guys, today's lesson is going to be on the muckrakers. You can begin your bell ring. Got someone read aloud what's on the board.
Answer the two questions previously and the following definitions. The Muckrakers were reform-minded. Questions based on previous women and the following definitions. The Muckrakers were reform-minded journalists, writers, and photographers in the progressive era in the United States who crafted narratives that established their contemporary institutions and views as corrupted or immoral.
All right, so based on what you've read and what we've already learned, during the progressive era, muckrakers published articles and novels primarily to everybody 1, 2, 3, or 4, A, B, C, D. Put up on your fingers what y'all have. Okay, so out loud.
D. Make Americans aware of power in society.
So, Tiani, why would you say it's D, make Americans aware of problems in society? So what about in there led you to believe that's D?
Because when they say in the United States, classes narrative, I say narrative that established their constitutional
Institutions?
Institution and either as corrupt or immoral. It's corrupt and immoral.
Okay. And then next one in his book, How the Other Half Lives, Muckraker Jacob Reese exposed the 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D. And how do we know that? What y'all have out loud?
B.
How do you know it's the social ills of life in New York City's tenements?
Because that's like a main thing in the progressive era, like when everything was getting built, and New York City was like a main thing in that.
So today we're going to evaluate the causes of the publishing of muckrakers in America at the turn of the 20th century, and we're going to answer the claim, muckraking, what's the point? So when I ask, what's the point? What am I looking for? All right, so really quickly, Sue-hoo-hoo. Stand up, hands up, pair up. And I need your tallest partner to come up here. Get one of these. Y'all are gonna need a marker, a highlighter, and group up somewhere with your partner where you can work together. You're gonna need your assignment. With your Muckraker charts on the back. So focus to the front for your expectations for your pairs really quickly. So partner A is the person who was the tallest. Partner A is gonna read aloud the document to your partner. And partner B, while your partner is reading, you're gonna highlight the problems that you did. All right? The next thing is to have some conversations. On the wall, we have our conversations listed. Partner B is gonna respond with the conversation facts. So you're gonna begin, the fact is, I know that, are based on something inside of your reading. And then partner B is gonna ask a question with conversation 3 questions. So based on what your partner said about something, you're gonna ask a question. What does it mean? What is it that? And then partner A is gonna respond with the conversation 2, opinion, in my opinion, or I believe, I think. After you have your conversation, you're gonna, as a group, write a 4-sentence description on your document and complete the section of your chart on your last page. Your chart, who's the muckraker, the person? What's the name of their work? Where did they publish it? The book, the article, the newspaper? And then the problem. What problem is being identified? And for most of them, the problem is written on the top. Local and state politics, slum life. So you're gonna identify that problem. We're not gonna have the results until the end of this unit. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's gonna be a part that's gonna be missing. Everybody understand? So what is our first thing we're gonna do?
Read.
We're gonna read,
And then we're gonna highlight the problem.
What's our second step?
We're gonna respond with the
So we're gonna have our conversations. And third thing,
We're gonna answer the questions and ask a question about the
We're gonna go
conversation.
to the conversation.
the last thing is to write a 4-sentence description in marker so I can see all of your different colors. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, the management assured that no name was used in accordance with the
Civilized Americans. Well, seeing the universities of America human possessing
I like problems that I agree with you because that right there highlights a problem that
the mercy of their masters. The workers look about them and saw a land of wonderful resources. They saw the machinery made by their own.
There was a woman feeling her held by the hydrant. You just both forget. This
Is that black people, African American people, are being lynched for being just their skin color and nowhere else. Basically, in a civilized country, it's not happening else.
They were really, their houses and stuff would get burned and stuff. Like they were going through a trash that anybody else in this generation would want to go through.
Why? I mean, well, what's your opinion?
Raising your babies more money than us. And you know, we all know graphs are there. We read that document before. Remember what that document, honestly, it's an half whether honest what is honest.
Yeah, okay.
The Muckraker chart as the rest of the class fills out, shares out. You're gonna fill out your charts with the Muckraker, the name of their work, and the problem that was being done in this era.
Our muckraker is Eugene V. Dubs.
And what was the name of his work?
International Socialist.
And what was the problem?
The problem was,
Like the social, like the hardships in the social class.
So the social class. And then what did y'all come up with the result of your description?
We feel.
So everybody else is writing the Muckraker, and then you have all of the readings, so you can know how to spell their names. The names of the works is at the bottom of each one. And then the problem is identified in black or in blue on each of your papers. So continue with your description.
The description that we say was, people was going through tough times, like they were being overworked and the kids were getting killed and stuff because they battled with their food and their labor was high and stuff, and they didn't know good work.
So what they're talking about is the darkness, the lack of air, the lack of the God-given resources enter into that. So that would be the way the life was in a tenement. If y'all can remember back to that picture we looked at, with all those people inside of that one tenement, what would the feeling be like inside of that tenement? Claustrophobic, hot, stank.
It's diseases going around,
Disease.
like infections.
Uncomfortable because you're not in a good safety environment.
Right. So all of that would be the problem that he's trying to expose, the problem with slum life.
Alice Hamilton.
And what was the name of the work?
It was The Workplace.
The workplace?
Yeah.
Or that was the problem?
Oh, it was called the Parish painting.
Okay, and then the problem is with the workplace. So what have y'all identified as the problem? What was y'all description?
It was basically they was applying paint to metal bathtubs, and like the paint had poisonous lead in it.
So poisonous paint, poisonous lead, and what was that leading to?
The poisonous paint led to him being hospitalized for 3 months, and right after he got out the hospital, he still had poor health, so he wasn't able to work a full day again.
Ida B. Wells, and what was the name of her work, or where was it written?
The Cleveland Gazette.
In the Cleveland Gazette, which is a newspaper. And then, what was the problem?
Lynching.
Lynching of African Americans. So what was y'all summary?
African Americans were being lynched for nothing but their skin color. Over 10,000 citizens were lynched over a 20-year period. The government wasn't doing anything about these matters, even though they condemned other countries for doing the same.
Okay, awesome. So the lynching that occurred with African Americans was identified as a problem by Ida B. Wells. State politics. All right. Each student, you're gonna have a different color marker, so you can get a marker in the back if you need to. You're gonna write a response on 2 other documents from Conversations 4, which are wild. I wonder if, I can't believe that, or I'm amazed at that. So you have to respond on at least 2 other people's problems.
I can't believe that after him being hospitalized, I wonder if
Well, I'm amazed that New York, me and Workland would rather let
Have we seen so far in U.S. history that maybe haven't? Once again, the topic is the Muckrakers, and the lesson objective was that the students were going to evaluate the causes of publishing the Muckrakers in America at the turn of the 20th century. The lesson claim, or the supporting question for that lesson, was muckraking. What's the point? And how did I know if they got the point. Well, I looked at student work, and that student work provided evidence of mastery. And after the video, after this lesson, students were moving on to the progressivism lesson. And in that lesson, they were going to find the reforms or the changes that were made to address all of the Muckrakers problems. And that result would be filled out on the charts as they went through the whole next unit. And this is how I know that mastery had taken place in this lesson.